to tell you this. Stephanie White has found herself in Charlotte's Web. And I didn't even trip off this earlier today. But shout out to Ben Daniel, man, because it had dawned on me, which I think they lying, that technically, based off what they're saying, Caitlin Clark is not cleared to play 5-on-5.
Stephanie White just got caught slipping again. And this time actual doctors are calling her out on camera. That whole minor injury story about Caitlin Clark. Yeah, it just completely fell apart and fans are absolutely fuming. This is full-blown damage control mode. The big question is, how long did Stephanie think she could keep this lie going before all the receipts started showing up? So, let's get into this. Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever clearly thought they could play doctor and PR manager at the same time. Bad idea.
In July, right? You know, because, matter of fact, guys, there's a doctor that shared some info. You know what? Give me a quick second. Let me pull up this clip. Now, y'all know me, man. I got to come with the facts. And the fact of the matter is, Stephanie White is looking real spooky. Now, this was back in July. Now, this is just one doctor. Oh, we got two. Let's listen to this. Let's just have a rewind back.
Another groin strain. This is the other side. As we talked about with the first one on the left side coming back after the quad, day-to-day is not accurate for even a minor groin strain. It was closer to 2 weeks before she returned, played well, and now the other side, the right side. It is unclear what imaging shows, but once again, the new groin strain is not day-to-day. She's already missing the All-Star game and the three-point contest. The question is how much more? We won't know until we know about the imaging details, which were not revealed. But in any case, it's not day.
What's crazy is it all started back in July when they first called Caitlin Clark's injury a groin strain. They kept saying it was day-to-day, you know? But listen, doctors are now stepping forward saying, no, that's not how groin injuries work. A respected sports doctor actually came out and broke down the timeline, explaining straight up that a groin strain is never day-to-day. It's week-to-week at best. That means when the Fever told us Caitlin was just resting for a few days, they were already lying through their teeth. And get this wasn't even her first one. The doctor listed the whole pattern. May 26th, left quad strain. July 5th, left groin strain. July 16th, right groin strain. That's 3 injuries in less than 2 months. But Stephanie White, she called them all minor. At that point, her legs were screaming for a vacation.
She basically says Caitlin Clark is not cleared. Now, I did the first video. Now, this is from another doctor back in July breaking down a time frame of Caitlin Clark injury. Listen to this. This was on July the 16th. Now, this is when Caitlin Clark injuries happened, right? It says Caitlin Clark injury history, left quad strain, May the 26th, left a groin strain, July 5th, right groin strain, July 16th. He said initially he thought the strain she suffered last night was a re-injury, but realized that it wasn't. Obviously, we know that. Now, this was all the reports that was released by the Indiana Fever front office. Out status. This was all within like.
Plus, the doctor even said a groin injury like that was closer to a month-long recovery, not just a few days. So while fans were patiently waiting for Caitlin to come back, Stephanie was out here talking about how tough Caitlin is and how fast she heals. That's just not how medicine works. But here's the thing that really gets me. Now the doctors are back online saying the Fever never even contacted them to review anything, which basically means the team was just making up their own recovery timeline. It was all about PR over player health. Great job, coach. And guess what? Fans aren't stupid. They've been keeping track of this nonsense for months. One fan said nobody believes a single word coming out of Stephanie White's mouth. Another said she's the biggest liar in the league. And honestly, I can't even argue with that.
It looked like fans is catching on too. One fan said, no one believes a single word. The biggest liar in the women's basketball landscape, a.k.a. Stephanie White had to say, I'm not saying this. They said this 20 hours.
And if you go back and watch the interviews, which I totally did, Stephanie contradicted herself like 5 times in just 2 months. First, it's a minor strain. Then it's day-to-day, then it's she'll be fine next week. But then suddenly we hear she's not cleared for 5-on-5 yet. What? So she can't scrimmage, but she can travel with the team and sit courtside. Make that make sense. What's more, even back then, Caitlyn was actually refusing to see the Fever's medical staff. She was literally getting checked by her own doctors. That should have been a giant red flag right there, right? If your star player doesn't trust the team's doctors, something is seriously wrong. But instead of being honest about what was happening, Stephanie just kept throwing out the same robotic line. You know, we're taking it one day at a time. She's in good spirits. We'll know more after the imaging. Girl, we heard that speech 12 times.
Guess what, Stephanie White? This is you right here. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me get out of this full screen here. This is when? May the 26th. This was Stephanie White. Listen.
Let's be real here. They wanted Caitlyn off the court so they could run their system without her. Because the moment she touches the ball, that whole offense shifts around her. And Stephanie White just hated that. So they played the long game. They stretched out the injury, kept saying she was almost back, and just bought time to push their weird scheme that clearly wasn't even working. And now the truth is out there. Doctors have flat out said she should have been back weeks earlier, meaning Stephanie White and the front office basically lied to the media and the fans for months. It's like they forgot the internet even exists, because fans immediately pulled up old press conferences where Stephanie called Caitlyn's injuries minor setbacks and said she'd probably be ready for next week. Well, next week turned into 6 weeks, and by then the whole season was completely falling apart. You can't call that a setback. That's a cover-up. And don't forget, she kept doing this every single year. This isn't new behavior. This is the 3rd season in a row with these mystery injuries, secret scans, and that we'll see tomorrow nonsense. It's the same excuse, just a different year. So when people say instant regret, they seriously mean it. Because now every doctor and every reporter is digging up the receipts. Stephanie can't wiggle out of it this time. There's even video from May where she straight up said she didn't even know when Caitlyn got hurt. She just heard something was going on with her leg. You're the head coach. How do you not know when your star player got hurt? Then a month later, she's on camera saying she knows exactly what happened and that Caitlyn's a quick healer. Which one is it, Steph? You can't not know 1 week and then suddenly be Dr. White the next. That's exactly why fans are roasting her online. They see right through it. They're saying she was protecting her job, not her player. Because if Caitlyn came back and the Fever still lost, all the blame would be on the coach. So keeping her injured was just a safe excuse. And now, after all the cover-ups and contradictions, guess what the doctors are saying? That Caitlyn Clark's injury was healed weeks ago. She was cleared for 5-on-5 even earlier than they claimed. So why was she still on the sideline? You already know. Stephanie was buying time. She kept talking about mental recovery and slow progression. Nah, you just didn't want her messing up your playbook, and now it's absolutely blowing up in her face. Doctors are exposing the timeline, fans are exposing the lie, and reporters are connecting all the dots. It is not a good look. At this point, the Indiana Fever should just hold a press conference and say, yeah, we messed up. Because every single day they pretend nothing's wrong. They look worse and worse. The funniest part is that they still keep calling it a learning experience. Bro, this isn't a science project. This is a professional league. You can't experiment with your star player's career. And now Stephanie's getting dragged on every single platform. Fans are editing clips of her saying day to day over and over again with clown music in the background. Somebody even made a meme that said Stephanie White's medical degree was earned on Google Images. Cold but accurate. You gotta laugh because it's so messy. But here's the real issue. When you lie about injuries, you're not just fooling the fans, you're risking the player's future. Caitlyn Clark's body is her career. Every bad call from a coach or trainer can cost her millions down the line. So if you know she's hurt, let her heal. Don't pretend it's just tightness so you can look like a hero when she comes back. That's not coaching. That's pure PR nonsense. And let's not forget the timing. All this started right when the Fever were actually trying to make the playoffs. Then boom, Caitlyn's hurt, the team loses momentum, and the season collapses. And instead of owning it, Stephanie starts hiding behind medical excuses. Classic move. It's like she thought fans would just forget, but the WNBA community remembers everything. They've got timestamps, screenshots, and every doctor's tweet bookmarked. So when new info dropped this week saying Caitlyn was never really in danger, fans completely lost it. Now every interview she does gets bombarded with comments like, "Tell the truth," and "You lied about Clark." She can't even post a pumpkin emoji without someone commenting, "Still lying?" That's what happens when you break trust. Once people see you as dishonest, it's over, and this isn't going away anytime soon. Because now, other players and analysts are starting to speak up. They're saying this wasn't the first time a coach messed with an injury timeline for PR. So Stephanie's about to become the poster child for bad management. Instant regret doesn't even cover it. This is career-ending kind of regret. You can already see the Fever trying to scrub their mess, deleting old posts, editing quotes, acting like none of this ever happened. But come on, the internet never forgets. Caitlyn Clark is fine now. Doctors say she's healthy and ready to play. But this whole saga proved one thing. Some coaches care more about optics than honesty, and Stephanie White just found that out the hard way. The fallout from this whole mess has been wild. You'd think after getting exposed by actual doctors, Stephanie White would come out, own it, and move on. But no. Instead, she's doubling down like nothing happened. She's smiling in pressers, dropping those same one-day-at-a-time lines like a broken record. It's almost impressive, the confidence it takes to act this delusional on camera. And now, fans are really letting her have it. The Fever's comment section looks like a war zone. Every post, no matter what it's about, "Congrats to our interns. Happy birthday, Aaliyah." You'll find 50 people typing "Stop lying about Caitlyn" under it. That's what happens when you insult people's intelligence. You can't call fans family one day and then feed them made-up injury updates the next. People care. They watch every game. They follow every press conference. And when you lie to them, they notice. The best part, the doctors who broke the story aren't backing down either. They've been doing interviews explaining exactly why the Fever's version of events made no medical sense. One even said, "It's highly unlikely a professional athlete with multiple groin strains could return to full movement in under 2 weeks." Translation, Stephanie White, you're full of it, and the timing of everything makes her look even worse. Remember when she said Caitlyn was almost ready right before that road trip? Yeah, turns out that was the same week the team quietly filed for extra medical evaluations, which basically means they knew she wasn't even close to ready. So not only did they lie, they planned around the lie. That's next level manipulation. Even players from other teams are low-key calling it out without saying her name. One player posted a tweet saying, "Protect your body, they'll smile in your face and ruin your career behind your back." Everybody knew what that was about. And it's not just players, the media is waking up too. Reporters who used to back Stephanie are now starting to turn. One article headline literally said, "Fever coaching staff faces credibility crisis." Yeah, credibility crisis. That's journalist code for "we caught you lying." But let's go back to the core of this. Why lie in the first place? Because the team was desperate. The Fever season was hanging by a thread. And instead of being transparent, they tried to fake optimism. You know, the classic "she's fine, just resting" routine. The problem is when you keep saying that for 3 months, people start connecting the dots. Fans realized something wasn't right. Caitlyn's body language said it all. She wasn't injured anymore. She was frustrated.
I don't know when it happened. I know afterwards, we got a message that she had something going on with her.
She wanted to play, and they were holding her back. And if that's true, that's not just bad leadership, that's sabotage. There's this clip floating around from a post-game presser where Stephanie said, "We're being cautious with Caitlyn." Meanwhile, she'd already been cleared by her personal doctors to start scrimmaging. You can literally see the assistant coach's face twitch when she says it, like even he didn't believe what was coming out of her mouth. Now that the receipts are out, everything about her interviews looks off. The fake smiles, the vague medical talk, the "she's feeling good" lines, all of it looks like damage control in real time. And fans are brutal. One person tweeted, "Stephanie White treating Caitlyn Clark's recovery like a Netflix cliffhanger." Another wrote, "Can someone tell the Fever this isn't the CIA? We can handle the truth." That's the internet for you. They turn everything into a joke, but there's always truth behind the punchline. At this point, Stephanie White's best move might be to lay low for a while, because every time she opens her mouth, it just gets worse. The internet's calling it the Caitlyn cover-up. The memes are flying, and while it's hilarious to watch unfold, it's also sad because this whole thing could have been avoided if honesty had just been the first option. So yeah, instant regret definitely hit, but the damage is already done. Stephanie White wanted control, now she's lost it. The doctor spoke, the fans saw through it, and the truth's out. Caitlyn's fine, but that coaching reputation, not so much.